Hey kids, I'm back. So let's now see the other move on c6. Let's analyze the move d4, d5, and e5. That's also the move that children are playing on the chess tournaments. And here, the Caro Can move is bishop f5, right? So you develop the bishop, and white can play different kind of moves here, like knight can go to f3, or even some moves like g4 or h4, right? So look, let's first clarify this. If someone plays like a move like h4, and they want to play g4 and trap your bishop, right? So for instance, they play g4 and you go to g6, and they play h5 and you go to e4 and they play f3. They trap your bishop. So you just have to be careful with that. Here you just play h5, and you don't allow the g4, and you are going to be fine here. And the next move might be e6. You develop your pieces and you'll be okay in that position, right? The game here is uh, fine. Let's say c4 is played, right? And you just play e6, knight e3, and you develop. Now pay attention to this development. Knight goes to e7, right? The reason is that you need to move this knight, and then later we'll find a place for a bishop. So this is how the development can continue. You just go back, you don't give that bishop, and now maybe knight goes to f5, queen can go to b6, and you see here you are absolutely fine. So there are no problems in this position. Just don't fall for a trick. After h4, you play h5 and you stop that move. Let's go back, see what happens if the g4 is played. So I first want to clear up those moves on the side, because I don't want you to lose this bishop, right? So now look, you can play bishop g6, right? There are moves like that, and h4 and so on. But there is one move here, e6 for white, that I want you to avoid. I just don't want you to go into that. So what you can do here, you can go back to d7, right? Now you'll see what's different here is that you can play e6. Yes, this bishop is blocked right now, but there is also a problem with this pawn. Look, white pushed the pawn to g4, and clearly the king cannot make a castling to that side, to king side. It will have to move to maybe to the queen side. So you can play like this, right? Again, you see there are a little bit issues with development, right? So we have to be careful here. Just remember this move knight e7. You see, and look at this move now. Suddenly, black is opening the king side there, and this rook is going to become very active, right? Knight g5, and rook moves, right? Because it was attacked by the queen, and now you can take on c4. He wants to checkmate you on f7, right? Queen f7 checkmate, knight f5, and black is okay. Now this game was quite complicated, but black won the game on the end. So after bishop f5 and pawn moved to d5, black actually won the game. You can see this game. It was played by Grandmaster Agata Kamsky. So let's here f6 was played like that's right, and black ended up in a good position with he developed the knight to a6, and everything was fine. Now let's go back and just see one more time. So that means if g4 is played, you I would suggest you go to d7, right? On that move like g4, I would suggest you go to d7, not to g6, right? Or if you want to go more deep into this position, you can also study bishop g6 and see what happens there, right? Or bishop e4. Now let's see what else can happen. Knight f3, right? That's the move that probably kids are going to play like that. You play e6 and bishop e2, right? And now you can play two different moves. Like I'll give you two different lines that you can play. You can play c5. This leads into some kind of French defense, because It's a setup for a French defense, but bishop is on f5. Maybe that's easy for you to play, right? You could do it this way. Now, if c3 is played, you just develop knight c6, and here you could play bishop g4, because in a French defense, if you can trade this bishop for a knight, maybe you can make a pressure on d4. You could do it that way if you like. The other option would be just to capture on d4, and then again look at this development. Just remember, we are not going to block this bishop forever, right? We will find a way for a bishop to get out, and here you can take, and this is the idea, right? So with this knight on e7, you jump to f5, you are taking on f4. If you like this way, you can do it, right? You are good in this position. So that's another way. Let's go back. So bishop e2 and c5. So you can play this move. I'll show you also another line, right? Now what else can happen? Let's say bishop e3, and here you could instead of knight c6, you can even capture first. You take on d4 if you like it that way, and then knight e7, right? You protect this bishop on f5. So you see, we see this move knight e7 all the time, right? And look at this development. Right, bishop e4, knight g6. You are taking a pawn on e5. I personally think the kids who are playing with the white side, they're not going to be able to handle this very well, because those are grandmaster's moves. I think it's so much easier to play this for black side than for the white side. So of course the grandmasters, they can play any position they want, but for kids to find a move like this, knight g5, it's very hard, right? So, and this is just one of the lines. Look, queen d4, queen d5. That's funny, right? So that's another line that you can do there. Let's see now on bishop e2. Look, there's another move that you can play, knight e7, and this is actually the main move in this position. Although I thought the c5 might be easier for you, easier to remember, but knight e7 is also fine. If you like this way, just pay attention how development of the pieces is going to be here. Knight e7 again, and on knight d2, you can play h6. And now you are threatening to play g5, right? And look at us, g5. So this is the other way to develop. Now, look, this is clearly more advanced kind of chess. This is, how the grandmasters are playing this position. But if you think you can handle it, why not, right? If you find this to be interesting, for you, why not? Look, you play b6. Now we are going to push pawn to c5. Look at this. Bishop goes to g7. Do you like this kind of development? And you are gonna castle to the king side? Maybe. Why not, right? Here there is now an interesting sacrifice of the pawn. So black plays pawn to c5, and look at us. And then he takes on f4. So basically, the idea of this pawn to c5 is to make this pawn on e5 very weak, and it's a sacrifice of the pawn. So temporarily, white is a pawn up, but black has this attack, right? And now castling. So now pawn on e5 is weak. And if you get that pawn, then you should be fine, right? Here on knight d4, knight is attacking this bishop. You probably can play bishop e4 here, and on c3. On c3, I saw one game where knight capture on e5. Knight takes e5. You can do it that way, or if you need to, like I see the computer update recommends more like king h7. That's also not bad. A4 and knight e5. So that's that's fine, and it seemed to me you could be okay here with this game too. But this could be really for more advanced players. If you are maybe 14, 15, 1600 player in our classes, and you can remember all this, then it's okay, right? But if you are playing Caro Can and you are, let's say, 1,000 rating, 900, 1,100, then maybe it would be better to play like a simple move like this, c5, right? And because it's easier to remember, right, than go into that other positions. So look, this is on e5. Is there anything else that we are missing here? Pawn goes to e5, bishop f5. There are moves like c5. Look, this is a kind of move that you can also play. But I'm just going to show you a little bit, right? I I see that move as well. It's played recently in one of the Grandmasters games, but here it's kind of more difficult to play this position because because you need to play this move e6 and you are blocking the bishop. So you are threatening to take bishop c5, right? That's possible. And basically, you are going into the French defense, right? So this is now French defense. It's not Caro Can defense anymore. But that those transitions are. I mean, if you think you like to play like this kind of setup, right? You can. It's fine. See, bishop takes and bishop. Now I have to take with a bishop because pawn takes would really completely block that piece. So this is also possible, right? Like this. You move the knight to f5. You are threatening to take knight e3 and then bishop c5. Again, I believe, playing this with the white side is kids, they really don't know how to play this. So maybe it's possible, right, to to play this way as well for black. But look, black is here a pawn down, and but for a pawn you have a two bishops, so this is how you would play that position, right? Look, black is fine here, but do you want to play this way? That's up to you. I can just give you the ideas, right? And then you decide what would you like. The best is to try everything, right? Try them in your after school program classes, or you can play them in a practice games on Lee Chess, and then see what you like, right? I I think this is pretty much everything about this position, right? I gave you a little bit overview of this move e5. Okay, I'm going to see you in the next lesson, and that lesson is going to be about the knight c3 move. Bye bye.